right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our detailed cast of day 15. All right, a lot is going on around the map, so let's go ahead and zoom in on a couple of things that are happening here. First of all, we do have North Canada here is moving forward with another plane. Looks like we are not going to have a, looks like we're not going to have a hop, skip, and a jump way. If this plane was in Moose Factory, I do not believe it would reach North Bay. And that may be why we don't have a field here in North Bay. This might just be a very unfortunate situation where, it looks to me like this point that I'm seeing here is further away from the town than the ring is from North Bay down there. So if I'm correct in that, that would make a lot of sense because otherwise, why wouldn't you just build an airfield here? I know it costs materials, but it would certainly be worth it to prevent this long truck drive down to here. So that's probably what's going on now. I don't know about distances between, say, what is this here? Sudbury to Montreal. This is where you literally get out a piece of paper and you mark it, with the size of the ring, and you literally physically measure these things. But again, I trust that they've probably done that. And since we don't see any airfield building here, we just probably have an unfortunate situation going on here. Here's what's worth noticing about North Canada is bada bing, bomber almost built. And I happen to know that because I used one of the boosters that was gifted as part of the last challenge. So don't forget, people are getting boosters as part of the newspaper challenges that are happening. North Canada was gifted 2 of those. I believe the previous winner was also gifted 2. So, that's in the mix as well, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on here is still the same old kind of stalemate situation here. It does look like South Canada was attacking in, but I don't think necessarily with enough stuff to take this. This is a lot of defenders here, a lot more defenders moving in. But lo and behold, look at what Greenland's doing. Greenland's coming in here down through the back door. He's bringing in some troops behind, but man, those troops in the water move very, very slowly. So I think 24 kilometers per hour. So about the speed of a cannon on land, basically. But they will get there eventually. Meanwhile, this guy is just laying waste to New York City. New York, the capital. So Batrick does not seem to be responding to that. I don't really see much happening. These troops are marching through further north, so very interesting, kind of a surprise backdoor attack there. Is there anything here from Canada? No, I was going to say, if anybody was directly engaged here, then none of these troops would be able to leave. But it does look like any of these troops can leave at any time to race down there. I would say at least, but what are you going to do against those cruisers? There's just not much. Very, very interesting here. What's going on with New York, with Batrick? I don't know. It's not a great situation for him, but again, very little land has changed hands. We're still kind of back to that square one there in the New World. Let's come back down over here. We have seen Morocco active on the map. Morocco has expanded their holdings over here by just one other territory, but now they have 2 territories here in the previous Ottoman Empire. So continuing to expand. I'm not really sure where they stand with everyone else. The alliances in this game are so complex and so interconnected that it's very difficult to see what's going on, to figure out what's going on. One thing I do know that was going on was that over here, the Libby brothers and Silver Star did try to make an alliance with Arabia. And my understanding is that Arabia said, okay. And then at some point, either East or West Libya was moving troops through there, and Arabia suddenly attacked. Now, we talked about this at the beginning of the game. This kind of directly, how can we call this, duplicitous play, aka backstabbing, is not illegal. But I did try to kind of point out the idea that, hey, this is a community, and we're going to try to win by misdirection, by allowing people to believe things that they already believe without you telling them an outright lie kind of thing. Even deception, making things appear a certain way. But again, as I mentioned, it's not illegal. So sometimes you feel like you're backed into a corner. I know Arabia does feel like they were backed into a corner. having lost one ally almost immediately, and then another ally sort of faded away without doing anything to help his ally. I really feel for Arabia there. And then on the other hand, I have to say, like, all game long, there has been animosity between Egypt and Arabia. And I never really understood why, because it seemed to me that Arabia was kind of a natural ally to these boys down here, especially because even when the Ottoman were in the game, that was still, he only had one partner in the game and separated by a fairly large AI here. So I'm not sure why that animosity erupted down there, but it did. And it does seem like that animosity remained throughout the game, and it is now um, it's sort of surfacing in a very harmful way to Benaiah. First of all, the sneak attack, and second of all, Arabia, as we mentioned before, has a decent little air force here. Remember, we looked at the one fighter, one bomber. That's a potent little mix there. Not to mention the fact that now Caucasus is coming down with 5 cruisers, and there's just nothing that these people can answer with. There's just nothing to answer with on the ground. Benaiah did lose a cannon earlier, and that was a crucial loss. That was a loss that was very hurtful. Now, there's a lot of resources in this entire area, but not a lot of steel and not a lot of oil. And so, if Benaiah had been the backstabbing type, there's a lot of oil over here in Arabia and a little bit of steel as well. But I don't know if they can get to it now. I really don't. With cruisers in the water and the fact that anything that attacks over has to go through the water, I frankly just don't know how this can move forward. So if Benaiah and company can pull this off, it will be a fairly epic push. I will say, for my part, I think the desperate need for steel up here sort of created the first overreach of this team down here. I think that was a strategic mistake. We talked about this in the last video. I think Benaiah believed that Caucasus was going to be attacking down as well, or maybe Romania was going to be attacking down as well, and then it's going to be a big land grab. And what happened instead is only Benaiah attacked. And because of that, he got swarmed by all of those defensive AI troops. So whether that was intentional from Raya Force and Hemland up here or not, it certainly worked to their advantage. If it was intentional, that was a brilliant play, not actually attacking in at all, but just faking towards attacking and then letting Benaiah take all those hits. That might have been the beginning of the sort of the rampage of the Libby brothers and Silver down here, and maybe leading now to a longer, more protracted sort of a chess match here. Now, having said that, with Arabia, things would have been different. With the betrayal of Arabia, I don't know what's going to happen. I really just don't. So let's look at what's on the ocean here. We have Italy coming in with 3 cruisers and a sub. What are you doing, Italy? We don't know. We don't know because there's so many convoluted and confusing alliances at work here. But I will say this. I don't think Italy and this team over here necessarily wants Romania to run rampant. I'm pretty sure they don't. France has a lot at stake here in Central Europe, and as does Italy. So it may be that Smitty's coming in on the side of the Libby brothers down here and Silver Star. I'm not sure. We'll see. That is a wild card in the mix. A lot is going on down here, though. And I think the worst thing of all is that these cruisers, there's no answer for them. Now, having said that, we do have Morcus the Dorcas with 1 plane. I looked around and I couldn't find another plane being built anywhere, and I might just be missing the point. But this plane is built, but he has nowhere to go. There's no airfields. Like, this airfield would be good here. It doesn't look like there's airfields anywhere else on the map. Oh, there is an airfield here. Okay, so is there planning going on to getting that over there? How can this plane get over there? Okay, so that's going to be up to Morcus to make an airfield potentially here. That would probably hop it on over far enough to get it to Fayum, and from there maybe do some damage. But again, the fighter in this stack is crucial. If that was just a bomber, then he would be, just chop liver out there. But that fighter in there makes that a very intimidating stack. However, that would at least allow, hopefully, some sort of answer to this cruiser stack here. We'll see now moving forward how Arabia plays. We haven't seen Arabia playing any kind of serious strategic game, so we'll see what kind of player he or she turns out to be moving forward. Again, things like, is this bomber going to protect this, this air stack going to protect these cruisers? Important stuff moving forward. Okay, so we come back over here. We see that indeed Raya Force has moved down into the former Ottoman. I kind of expected that. Raya is a very cautious player, but he takes opportunities when they are presented, and this is certainly an opportunity moving forward to gather that gas and wood. Crucial kind of stuff here. You see over here, Arabia snuck on up out the back door and took this double wood, and there's nothing that they can do about it up here. I don't know if they care to do anything about it, but even if they did, they wouldn't, because they need Arabia right now. Hemland and Raya Force desperately need Arabia doing exactly what Arabia is doing. So Arabia could take anything he wants up here. He could come over here and take this double iron. Maybe not that in your face, but certainly if this was a frustration to Hemland and Raya Force, that's something they're willing to let go because of that crucial role now that Arabia is playing in their plans. Without Arabia, I would have said that we might have had a standoff here between Benaya Force and Raya Force up there. But now Arabia coming in, and again, I hesitate to say anything without knowing all the details, but I'll tell you, a game-long animosity between two players can really push a player in one direction. If Arabia knows he could go with the north or go with the west, that's the kind of thing that can potentially push people over the edge. So maybe a reminder to you that when you're playing in-game, jousting, verbal jousting, maybe keep it light, or maybe, I don't know. I don't really have much advice to give there because I can get pretty sassy myself. We do have Ukraine coming down with a fighter. Ukraine coming down with a fighter to land here. Okay, so it looks like Ukraine, we haven't seen a lot from Swedish Viking, but Ukraine is coming down with a fighter into that region. Wow, okay. So things are waking up as the specialists start to develop units. One of the things we do know is that all of these countries are starved for resources. So the coming conquerings are going to be very important moving forward. We did mention that Hemland sort of has that early advantage of just having an entire country worth of resources. And this was a rich country that he took over. We have the double energy, double building, some good stuff in there. And then, of course, taking over the capital here was a big boost as well. So Hemland moving quickly in the early game gained an early advantage. And, of course, that always matters. Let's take a look at the leaderboard here. You might be surprised. Once again, Great Britain in first place. So Great Britain, who started off with no advantages really, in fact, sort of a fragmented team, who lost Germany early, and then Poland was sort of surprised attack from the rear. Poland not even on the team, right? Somehow Poland, I think it's Great Britain's diplomatic game. Somehow Poland said, you know what, take it. And I think that's what happened. I'm not exactly sure of that, but it certainly looks like it. So Great Britain is number one player in the game, followed by Romania, who we just now talked about, gained some early land. Sweden, of course, has been just consistently moving down from the north, spreading and industrializing, taking some key territories here from Germany, some important double tiles there in the middle countries there. And then Caucasus, we've talked about Caucasus is doing well. Having Romania and Caucasus on the same team there is pretty devastating. That makes them the team to beat. There's no question about it. Whoops, I did not mean to click on that. So finally, we have West Libya or Benaya here in fifth place. So big stuff happening on the map. I got to say, not a whole heck of a lot here. It does look like Europe is stabilizing, which is kind of surprising because there's so much territory up for grabs without a lot to defend it, although now the defenders are starting to move in. Can't say the same for Britain. Britain is lightly holding all of this stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if Britain might be bargaining away one or two of these territories in exchange for the right to hold the rest. So I know I've seen Britain, the diplomacy is strong there. So I would say I wouldn't be surprised if Britain didn't maintain at least most of these. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 territories are left. I can't remember if Britain had more than that or not. In other words, I can't remember if Britain has already traded some away or not. Possibly. I don't know. But let's keep an eye on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lucky 7. Britain has 7. If Britain ends up with less but not at war with people, then we'll know that they are trading away territories for survival. Once again, we did mention in the middle over here, we do have Ukraine. Ukraine has not moved a lot of stuff until now. Something lit a fire under Ukraine, and potentially the idea that his coalition is now in a fight to the death, more or less, down south. And you can see Caucasus is moving down as well. So a lot of forces moving down here. I feel like they are solid with Arabia. Benaiah did publish a newspaper article publicly denouncing Arabia in no uncertain terms. And so one thing that does when you do that, now, not that it wasn't already the case, but it certainly does cement people together. Arabia knows that he has no love from that quarter. And so Arabia is, I think, solidly now in that camp, meaning these people are going to be staging down into Arabia. Ironically, that's what Arabia didn't want from Benaiah Silverstar and Morcus the Dorcas. He didn't want people staging in his country. So we'll see moving forward, now that it's a hot war, is he going to feel pressure to go ahead and let the northern countries stage into his country? And I think likely he will. Let's just see. That's really kind of just the way war goes. We talked about that earlier. Benaiah striking first against the Ottomans was ended up being a very, very damaging thing to their war effort. And then again, potentially reaching out to Arabia first, Arabia, who appeared to be kind of gun shy and nervous, might have also worked against them. Neither of those was bad strategic moves, but maybe the timing was what betrayed them. We can see over here, Spain still holding on desperately to a little piece of land over here. It looks to me like the end of the Austria-Hungarian Empire is imminent. France has moved in with a sizable force here to capture that. That's a great cap for France. Should have happened a long time ago, but they decided to wait for cannon so that they wouldn't lose as many against that fort. So can't be mad about that. They're going to get a big capture with very, very few losses, and then they need to decide what to do. France, what do you want to do? Now this is going to cause Romania potentially to concentrate on their westward flank. But Romania is in a full-scale shooting war down south here. So who is this over here? Romania, Caucasus has a little bit of force here. But once this is in the hands of France, with a huge force there, by the way, and I say huge, but it's pretty darn big, 2 cannon, 3 armored car, and about 95 guys are going to be there by the end of all this. That's a mean mofo who, by the way, can dogleg around to either side here, avoid this level 2, and bounce on into this level 2. Okay, that's not much better, is it? This is Spain, though, their ally. Can dogleg around to this level 2. Okay, as you might suspect, the player who hasn't done a lot offensively is well positioned defensively. So good for you. That is as it should be. All right, I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot else to talk about. Russia just sort of remains this perennial, frozen bear. And it now looks like we have some action on this front. So Finland moving in with 3 artillery. And this is maybe why, Russia, this is maybe why you don't just sit there the entire game defensively. He managed to neutralize northern Russia, but in the process kind of got neutralized himself. But again, I don't super blame him because he is surrounded, more or less by an enemy team. So northern Russia and Finland over here. But none of this used to be Finland, right? None of this was Finland earlier. So, but again, the way the cards are dealt can sometimes feel pretty unfair. I'm not sure that Russia was dealt the most active players in the world either, right? Lithuania and Poland. Poland tried, Lithuania left. So, again, can't be mad at Russia. Russia's playing defensively, but kind of has to at this point. All right, I think that's about it. Some very interesting, impressive things are happening in this game. What's going on up here? A little bit of swimming around in the water. I don't know why. Okay, that's it. Our detailed analysis is over for day 15 here. I can't believe we're this deep into this game, and the specialists are starting to shine, and the wars are heating up. Very exciting stuff going on. So thanks for checking in, guys. I'm glad you're here. We'll see y'all next time. Adios, amigo.